Okay, hello and thank you for joining us for Dassault Systèmes from Concept to Class A with CATIA Icem webinar. My name is Eric Galina. As you know, this webinar will focus on refining surfaces with Dassault Systèmes CATIA platform. You'll see how it speeds up iterations within the design and engineering teams and learn about how you can combine it with the precision and quality of V6 visualization tools. With us we have Laurent Igarza, who is in charge of shape design and product marketing, and Fabio Berari, a CATIA Icem product marketing expert. They will be showing you how to develop your skills using this unified solution and show you how you can harness the power of the CATIA platform. Before we start, I would like to remind all of you in attendance to draft up some questions, which Laurent and Fabio will answer in the Q&A session following this presentation. Please ask these questions by typing them into the control panel on your screen. If you should happen to experience any technical difficulties during this session, please also type these into the Q&A box, and our team will do their best to sort these out for you. If you're using a PC, be sure to check that the audio is not in mute mode. We hope you'll find this webinar stimulating and informative. And I'll now hand it over to Laurent and Fabio so they can begin the presentation. Thank you.
Okay, so hello to everyone, and welcome to this Car Design News webinar dedicated to CATIA Icem solution. So again, my name is Laurent Garza. I am responsible for marketing business and business development for advanced surfacing solution in CATIA brand. And I am today with our CATIA Icem expert, Fabio Berari, who will detail later on for you some key highlights of on the product. So before deep diving into the product capabilities, I will just focus for a couple of minutes about the DS strategy for what we call surface refinement, which includes, of course, Class A surfacing in the CATIA shape domain. So just as a reminder, in Dassault Systèmes, we divide CATIA scope in 4 domains, which are mechanical, shape, equipment, and system. So this is how we describe the whole scope of CATIA shape solutions. In any project, we start with an ideation phase, from sketches to 3D concept modeling, where, of course, imagination of the designer is the main driver. Then when the concept gets to a certain level of maturity, design starts to incorporate engineering constraints and becomes more and more rational to finally reach engineering modelization and tooling design. So if we consider the life cycle of the 3D surfaces all along this process, at the very beginning, during the ideation phase, the modelization is performed following mainly visual appearance and evolves in time to ultimately fit manufacturing quality criteria. This is why the Class A modeler's mission is very challenging. They really stand at the heart of the transition between the artists that are designing and engineers. So they must respect the styling intent at any time while providing accurate, smooth, and optimized surfaces to engineering and tooling departments. So Dassault Systèmes now provide 2 solutions on the market for Class A surfacing. You'll find the Icem Surf classical solution, which is still available as a standalone software with best-in-class explicit modeler for Class A surfacing. So you will find classical modules from Icem Surf that are Icem Pro, Icem Master, Icem Magic. And of course, the main solution Dassault Systèmes wants to push now is CATIA Icem, which is already available in V5 and V6 CATIA releases. So Dassault Systèmes bought Icem technology in 2007 after 2 years of partnership because we wanted to provide a solution within CATIA able to satisfy high-end quality surface designers. And for that, we needed Icem experience to bring Icem Surf advanced mathematics into a CATIA workbench, able to keep the history of construction, and finally bring the associative data model to digital sculptors because it was not available for them and the opposite as it was for engineers or manufacturing designers. So a quick word about CATIA shape strategy. For CATIA Icem, we have two drivers. Okay, first we are focusing on some new direction for the solution, because today if you take a Class A modeler, everyone in the community of Class A modeler and also of course in styling departments is trying to make the work evolve and is always searching for best methodology and best tools, knowing that industrial context is more and more challenging, especially on the innovation aspect, because it's a key differentiator of these days. So bringing productivity with quality in our solution is essential. And to answer productivity challenge, we need also to enable collaborative work, which means to give the best level for the solution and secure the integration of the solution within CATIA. So what are the key values? The key values for CATIA Icem is first a completeness of the solution, because we want to bring the best-in-class solution that we have in Icem Surf. Okay, so we brought Icem Surf surfacing into CATIA. Of course, we have a unified solution, meaning that we have an integration in CATIA world, allowing also the use of CATIA Icem with Connex workbenches. We want to push collaborative work by streamlining the design process, and also simplify and maintain the relationship with Connex specialty for Class A designers, because in the company it's not always obvious to access to the best so far data. So with CATIA V6 we keep the global network connected. So let's illustrate that in a short video. So in 4-minute video, some of the key highlights that CATIA V6 can bring to you, and how CATIA Icem fits within the overall picture. So you will have an overview of the key phases: ideation, creation, collaboration, and validation phase. So in the concept modeling phase, you can start to draw your idea in 2D, of course, doing your own sketches, and why not get some inspirations through your design communities. You can position directly those sketches in your 3D space, and get then a visual reference during 3D modeling. As you are connected to the company PLM system with CATIA V6, you can also easily search and bring back in your work session some packaging data and start to shape directly with some subdivision surface. Of course, here we are in the very early phase of the styling design. However, the level of accuracy can be pushed at a very good detailing level. Finally, if you also work with some clay models, you are also able to regenerate some subdivision surfaces from the scan data and build some patches from the subdivision, and then iterate again on the final concept. So concept being mature enough, you can now produce Class A surfaces within CATIA Icem using traditional explicit sculpting by moving the patches control points, managing symmetry plane, dynamic analysis tools such as highlight zebras here. And as CATIA Icem benefits from CATIA platform, you are also able to refine your shape using associative control points, feature-based modeling with some dedicated advanced features such as gap here. And last but not least, knowledge-aware templates can also implement CATIA Icem features, so it makes you save a significant reconstruction time. Finally, CATIA Icem also proposes some global deformation tools if you need to iterate on volume proportion, for example. So with CATIA V6, we also improve a lot collaborative work aspects. As you can see in the current example, where you have a vehicle architect on the left side, which is showing to the exterior Class A modeler a small clash that occurs between a reinforcement security beam and the exterior surface of the left front door. So sculpting slightly the underlying theoretical surface will solve the issue, and you'll see that transition surfaces and gaps are updated consequently. CATIA Icem also provides specialized features to build surfaces that have high engineering constraints, like the cylinder glass, for example. And the easy access to a single IP reference for all the companies streamlines a lot collaboration with engineering and manufacturing teams, so it decreases the risk of costly iteration. And CATIA V6 also has real-time rendering tools that allow users to perform design validation in many ways, like color and trim with real-time rendering and ambient occlusion. With some kinematics, you can have a first idea about the shadow behavior, get a first feeling about the volumes and the proportions. So finally, CATIA V6 live rendering is using interactive ray tracing technology, and it is very powerful as it allows to produce very realistic pictures of your 3D, even for non-specialist people. So at any time you can modify geometry, get back into CATIA live rendering, and get a pretty good idea about how design will look in the real life. So several HDR environments are available and can be easily changed. Geometry can also be modified, emissive light can be put on it, and you can imagine how it can facilitate and speed the discussions during a design review. So here you have many examples of what can be done with a full solution. So it was a quick overview, of course, for illustrate what CATIA Icem brings to the whole picture. And now we are going to switch on more detailed demonstration. So I will let Fabio take hand of the presentation and detail what you've seen very quickly in this teaser.
So thank you, Laurent. Let's first have a look, have an overview of the demonstration. We will start by using 3D search in order to retrieve the data I need for the modeling. Then we will see CATIA Icem capability. We will also see an integration between CATIA Icem and other standard workbenches, like KnowledgeWare. And finally, we will have a look to the new product called CATIA Live Rendering. So here we go. Using PLM's toolbar, you can retrieve your data by simple search as Google Search do, and you have a 3D view of your model, open directing all data you need for start design. This is very important, the sixth value. It is based on a unified platform, a single IP reference, and you share data with people from engineering, and you can start your designing context. Here we can see an example where I took some information with colored legenda. Let's move on CATIA Icem workbench. CATIA Icem guarantees explicit model as Icem Surf do, but in addition of that, we offer more powerful capability we will see during the presentation. As you see, you can create your shape by using a curve approach on directing surface modeling. In this example, I start with a curve near a point, and then I move the control point on the resultant surface. And of course, I can connect surface thanks to matching constraints common up to G3. Another way can be to fit patch directly on the cloud of point. Here we see an example. So once I've created the geometry, I like to measure the quality of the shape. And for this, CATIA Icem provides a set of analysis tools dedicated to the Class A workflow, and allows to concurrently verify the respect of styling requirement and feasibility. Here we have an example, some highlight analysis, plate analysis, and user curvature. We also have other kind of analysis, mirror, etc. Moving a step forward in the modeling, I can improve the efficiency of my model using some associative feature command. CATIA Icem surface feature are based upon their specification and input. This provides the user the ability to modify the parameter value of the specification to quickly produce variants, as well incorporate engineering and manufacturing input like die angle or draft angle, for instance, but also introduce legislation parametry into styling during the creation, minimum value, for instance, minimal radius value, for instance. As most of ISD commands are feature-based, by definition we maintain a associative link to their input, providing the capability for resultant geometry to react and modification their input. Thanks to this, the user is able to initiate faster iteration during the initial design phase, integrated the design intent enables coherent modification, and variant can be easily obtained by modifying input elements. And finally, one of the specific of ISD is the control of the approximation. Anytime you want to compute a surface, you can consider that you are trying to approximate the perfect shape. User is interested into the optimization of the complexity of the shape in terms of segmentation while respecting a given tolerance. User is able to iterate inside the panel getting feedback on the results. It can work in automatic way on a full model world. This is a very flexible way to control the mathematics of the shape. Moving on, I can also take benefit of feature modeling capability. This function is pretty unique in the market. The feature modeling concept within CATIA enables users through an interactive method the ability to modify the geometric element of the feature while it continues to remain a feature. User is still able to create and modify the input parameters of the feature result in the usual way, but now with the added advantage to being able to directly modify the geometry by its control point, like in the explicit word. This can be done for final tuning or for instance, for feature quality improvement where needed. So here we see an example. We have created a surface, and then we can get back to the feature, change some parameters, like for instance in this case the approximation of the region. You will see, modifying it, and getting back to the feature modeling and start to move the control point of the resultant geometry. Again, for final tuning or for quality improvement if needed. CATIA Icem also offer a wide palette of advanced commands. Here we see an example dedicated to the creation and refinement of the shapes proper to the Class A design process, like for instance, advanced fillets. Here we see an example of create gap. We have several kinds of gap already preset. Flange cranes, fillet flange, accelerated surfaces, overcrowing, shape mapping, and so on. This provides the user productivity in the design of quality critical area and also fast convergence to superior perceived quality. Again, I can start, iterate, change some parameters, and just apply. Everything is updated and in one click. And even if I move patch control point, associativity is kept and the whole structure is automatically updated. So here we change some patch, the input parameter of the feature, but we still get the connection and the result. To complete my design, I have to create a front grid of the car. I will use an automated generation of the geometry by executing a knowledge pattern created by a colleague. In a few seconds, I can generate grid vertical ribbon with G3 fillets following few input geometrical elements. This is full parametric, and I can now modify what I've generated. I can now modify the number of vertical ribbon and in one click just update it. And as well, I can modify the fillet value. The space and the angle of the ribbon will change interactively in this example. This way, I'm able to reuse company standards and save a lot of time while creating detailed geometry. One important aspect of the solution is that we have introduced a new product called CATIA Live Rendering to offer to customers a new way to rendering with an interactive retracing solution. The goal of this solution is to provide an easy integrated way to do photorealistic imagery. It is very important for everyone to be able to communicate and present the design with very high-end visualization, but without spending hours and days of work in terms of computer-generated imagery. With this solution, we introduced the notion of interactive retracing. The goal was to have no compromise on the quality of visualization, to have the best-in-class visualization solution with all the aspects of retracing, but at the same time to be able to do that totally interactively, to be able to change the shape, the color and the material, and at the same time to be able to visualize the physical correct object. So it is based on rendering engine called Array from mental image, which is integrated in CATIA. It is interactive retracing, it is physical correct, and it's taking the full power of the CPU, but also the graphic board. And the user interface is very simple, similar to the photographer live. So in few steps, you can create outstanding photographic imagery. The important point is that at any time you can change the shape and activate the rendering to visualize the real life. And then you can start to navigate all around your object and visualize the behavior of the material in the shape. For lighting purpose, it is based on image-based lighting. So you don't have to spend hours to set up your scene and your light. You just have to select in a library of images called HDRI and bring it to the scene, and then you can see your object within the environment you have selected. So in this example, you can change the shape of the door handle anytime, and you can reactivate the interactive retrace to visualize the results. It should be part of your creation step. Changing the HDRI here. And just to zoom out, we have the complete vehicle. So some example of rendering. If you wait for a few seconds, this is the kind of visual quality you can achieve. We can also simulate the fact that material emits light. Here we see some example. And another example here, you can see that all the reflection between the side mirror and the car. So you can really notice it is real-time interacting retracing solution, managing all the shadow, but also the reflection from object to object. It is very easy to produce high-end and photorealistic images without spending hours to setting up materials, scene, and light. So I'm done for the demonstration. I give the hand back to Laurent, and thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Fabio. So again, I want you to remind the key values for CATIA Icem that we're proposing in CATIA V6 mainly, which is the fact that we have integrated into CATIA the Icem knowledge for surfacing technology. We have a unified surfacing solution, meaning that you are able to mix, if you need, the design from CATIA Icem with subdivision surfaces, with mechanical surfaces that you are able to use usually in the GSD workbench for the one who knows already CATIA. And you're also able to add thickness on the parts. So it will, of course, streamline a lot the design collaboration, because you will be able to communicate more easily with connect specialties, whatever it may be, styling teams or engineering teams, even manufacturing team or composite team, for example. And of course, as everyone is able to access the best of our data, again, with a good security in the company, the global network for the design will be connected, so it should reduce a lot mistake and misinformation within the company. So if you have two aspects to remind concerning CATIA Icem solution, so first we have kept, you have the unified modeling, so we have kept the precision of Icem in CATIA. We have added the power of associativity, and you have the hybrid modeling flexibility, able to reuse other CATIA features within the solution. And in CATIA V6, we have a unified visualization. So it means that you have, as we saw in the little teaser, we have so nice real-time rendering solution for ambient occlusion and for color and swing. You have the interactive ray tracing with live rendering, so what Fabio just illustrated. And you still have the usual rendering, computed rendering that are available in CATIA since the beginning of V5. So just to end this presentation, I wanted to share with you a small movie, which obviously doesn't work. Okay. So Eric, I think we're done with the presentation because the movie is not broadcasting, so I don't know what's happening. I think we're ready for any question and answer session because it was a quick overview. Of course, we don't have time to go very fast.
Yeah, no, that was a brilliant presentation. Thanks very much, Laurent and Fabio. It was interesting to see the capabilities of Dassault's visualization software and basically to see the integrated Icem solutions for surfacing and the unified real-time rendering and interactive ray tracing solutions that will, in fact, streamline the process between design and engineering. So thank you very much for that. I'm going to open this up now for a few questions that we've received. The first one came from Roman, and he asked, what are the differences between Icem Surf and Icem Shape and Design? Laurent, do you want to answer that one?
Yeah.
What are the differences between Icem Surf and Icem Shape and Design?
So Icem Surf, as I was explaining, is a classical solution that is sold since more than 20 years now. It's a standalone software, and it's only working in explicit modeling, meaning that if you have done some shape and if the designer is asking for a change, you have to rebuild all the construction that has been put on the surface. What we've done is we have taken the mathematics of CATIA, of Icem Surf, the same algorithm within CATIA platform, and on top of it we have put the associativity, meaning that if you are moving the underlying surface, all the construction you build on this surface will be recomputed. So CATIA Icem design is really the solution within CATIA.
So how does CATIA Icem deal with the Icem Surf data then?
Well, there is a direct bridges, whatever it may be in CATIA V5 or CATIA V6, in both ways, meaning that if you are producing CATIA V6 data 3D XML, or if you are producing CATIA V5 CAD parts, it can be read directly in Icem Surf, and the opposite is true also. Both the releases of CATIA are able to read .icem file or session file, DB file. So it's working directly. There is no conversion of data.
Okay. Travis is asking, is live rendering available in CATIA V5?
Nope. This is an exclusivity of CATIA V6 release. It's a multi-array technology, and it's available only in V6. It's since V6 2011X, so it means beginning of end of last year. Sorry. So it's already available on the market.
All right. Is CATIA Icem providing subdivision surfaces?
No. So what we are illustrating in the teaser is really the big picture from industrial design to mechanical surface design. It's just showing that within CATIA Icem we are able to reuse subdivision surface if we need to build geometry on top of it. But CATIA Icem itself does not provide subdivision surface. It's another workbench in CATIA that you need to purchase, which is called Imagine and Shape. It's more dedicated to model your shape as a sculptor will do it for styling design.
Okay. John is asking, is environment lighting and these new environments available outside of iRay?
Sorry, you mean the environment, the HDRI?
Yes.
No, those environments are only available in CATIA so far. We do not distribute them.
Okay. And
there is no
not
decision
yet
done on that yet.
Okay, okay, very well. So Scott is wanting to know, can the program take a surface imported from a different application to match to adding a component to the car?
I'm not sure I understand well the question.
Yeah, I don't really understand that myself. I think what he's saying is, can the program take a surface from a different application and then add it to your application into CATIA Icem and use that as a component for the vehicle?
For sure. In the car you have seen in the video, it was fully made on CATIA V6, and you have several technology mixed. Okay, in the headlight, for example, we have taken some subdivision surface from Imagine and Shape and build some CATIA Icem design, class A quality on top of it. You are also able to take CATIA Icem surfaces and give them to the other workbenches to directly use them. It's fully hybrid modeling and fully integrated in CATIA platform, so no problem for that. If I understand well the question, of course.
So is CATIA Icem only available in CATIA V6?
No, it's already available in CATIA V5 also, since V5 R19.
Okay. And are there schools where you can learn the CATIA Icem's platform?
We have started to work with some European schools that are dealing with industrial design and sometimes digital sculptors for Class A surfacing. So we are currently developing some trainings that will be available either for students or even for customers. So it should be available beginning of next year at latest. Okay, if we can go quickly, we will do it. Okay. But we have started to provide a solution to schools. So it's in the portfolio of CATIA. We also have CATIA Icem available in the dedicated packaging for schools also. Schools and students, of course.
Okay. This question comes from Gustavo in Mexico. He asks, does the use of CATIA Icem mean that it's no longer required to use Alias to create initial conceptual shapes? What do you say about that?
From my point of view, CATIA Icem was the missing link between industrial design and engineering side. Okay. So far, companies were doing mainly industrial design in other software. Then, anyway, the Class A surfacer was needing to have Icem Surf to do his design, then go into CATIA. As you are able, there was a webinar some weeks ago about creative designer solution in CATIA. As we are able to do the full industrial design within CATIA, you are able to do the surface refinement within CATIA, and you are able to provide everything to the engineering and manufacturing team. So from my point of view, the full process is now covered in V6, and it's even more quickly for collaboration thanks to the database in V6. So from my point of view, you can remove Alias if this is the only matter you have. Yes.
Okay, so this question is coming from Ding Ning, who says, what do you think the difference is between Icem Shape Design and Alias Studio?
Well, the difference are mainly about the user interface, of course. So I will share some information about that with everyone. You have to know that of course, internally we have some benches between Alias, even Icem Surf and CATIA Icem. And Alias users are the most familiar finally with CATIA paradigm, because they are already knowing associativity, so they are used to modify some geometry and see everything recomputed. So it's not a big step to go into CATIA. And the main differences from my point of view are the user interface is different, but you have the way to manage tolerance, which is different, and the CATIA shape is able to provide more accurate shapes.
Okay. All right, well, thanks for that. He also asked, does Icem have some quick styling modeling solutions?
Sorry, I didn't hear the beginning of the question.
Ding also wants to know, does Icem have some quick styling modeling solutions? I guess integrated into, I would assume.
Well, it depends on if you're starting with a scan data, or if we are to restyle, or if you mean to remodel your data. From the strategy of CATIA shape is to use subdivision surface to do quick modeling, and so my advice is to use imagine and shape. CATIA Icem is really to provide a concept modeling, detailed design to full class A quality. But we have in the packaging solution to use reverse engineering. This is embedded in CATIA Icem, but not subdivision surfaces again.
All right. Jorg wants to know is which major OEMs are using ISD today?
So we are working with German OEM mainly, because of course they are using Icem Surf since ever. And in production we have PSA in France that is using already Icem chip design.
Okay.
Problem is that we have other customers, but I'm not authorized to tell so far. But mainly what you have to know is it is developed with German OEM and PSA in France.
I see. All right. Tom wants to know, is direct bidirectional translator between Icem Surf and CATIA Icem available at an additional cost? Or is it included in the pack?
I think the customer has to ask for it, but it's not an additional cost.
Okay.
But of course, it's only available if CATIA Icem is installed. By default, it's not if you don't have CATIA Icem on your CATIA.
All right. Can thick surfaces be used in CATIA Icem is another question.
Sorry, which surfaces?
Thick surfaces.
Thick surfaces. Ah, okay. Yes, CATIA Icem is a low hybrid modeling just as any other workbench in CATIA. So if the Class A surfacing guy wants to deliver thick surfaces, he's perfectly able to add a thickness to his surface and provide it to the engineering department.
Okay. All right. Let's see. So Jorg was also asking, he wanted to know which major OEM was using. He says, what hardware do I need for a live render? Which hardware? What are the hardware requirements to?
In fact, live rendering is working on any hardware. Of course, I think there is a minimum, I would say, modern material to have. But what you have to know is it does not. Live rendering results do not depend on the number of polygons you have in your data. Meaning that if you are doing live rendering on a cube or on a huge assembly, it doesn't change the computation time, okay? It's only depending on the size of your screen and the number of pixels to provide by the software. So, of course, the solution is scalable. If you have a good graphic card with GPU and CPU, because you are able to manage both, it can work on a laptop. The laptop I am projecting, which is projecting right now, is able to provide the kind of features you've seen in less than 1 minute. Okay, so if you have multi-core, it can even go quicker. After, it depends again on your graphic card and on the side of the picture you're asking for. But even modest material can provide live rendering.
Okay.
Yes,
so
just to complete my answer, anyway, at the beginning of live rendering, the software is evaluating for you the level you have to provide pictures. So you are aware about the time that you should wait for have nice pictures.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Finally, there's one more question. Someone wants to know if they can find additional tutorials on this program, CATIA V6 or CATIA Icem. Do you have these available?
So not yet. Again, we are preparing trainings for students, school, and customer that should be delivered soon. And we will also deliver free tutorials for Icem Serve for AES users by end of this summer.
Okay, and I'm also assuming that the program is going to expand and include other design requirements such as furniture or aviation in the future as well?
Yes. For your information, since 1 year we had more than 150 new capabilities in the software, and it's still growing. So for sure we are extending the portfolio to other industries. With dedicated packaging, of course.
All right. Great. Well, I think that that sums it up for our question and answers. Is there anything else that you'd like to mention, or perhaps you could answer some additional questions via email if there's any more that come through here. But is there anything that you'd like to add in conclusion before we end the webinar today?
Yes. So just. So first, welcome. Thank you to everyone for your time. And again, if you can find more videos about the product and even other products on the DS channel on YouTube. So if you want to see things more in detail, you're welcome. And of course, I'm ready to answer a question by email if needed. No problem with that. So thank you, everyone.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you, Laurent. Thank you very much, Laurent. Thank you, Fabio, as well. And thank you to everyone who's attended this webinar today. This webinar is going to be uploaded to our archives and accessible in the future, so all of your colleagues who haven't been able to attend this live presentation can access this and any previous webinar under the Process tab on the Car Design News homepage. So we want to thank you all again for joining us today, and we hope you'll join us again for our next webinar. Thanks again, Laurent and Fabio.
Welcome.
Thank you.